My artwork is a painting, and I like to think of it as having two main sections. Firstly, there's the background, which is the storybook pages, and they're hidden by white paint almost, which has then been sanded back. So this sort of technique was based on the shabby chic for what you use for furniture. And then from there, there's red lines that are sort of undulating from the middle subject of the painting, which is the wolf, which is what I see as the second part of the painting. And so the wolf is then this figure that is over both of the two canvases. And it's just the face of the wolf, and the wolf is in fact happy, which contrasts with the background of the painting. What I'm interested in with my main concept is what shapes us, and so I focused on how in childhood fairy tales are read to us, and as young and impressionable children we create a foundational paradigm of the world. And so from there I looked at the recurring portrayal of the wolf as an antagonist, but then my painting then challenges that by portraying the wolf as this convivial character, and that contrasts with the ferocity of the wolf in the storybook pages beneath.
My artwork is made up of 3 sculptures. 2 were made of clay, 2 clay bones. The last sculpture was a fox skeleton about 1 metre long, made out of stainless steel cutlery welded together. I physically made the bones just as a subtractive sculpture with clay and then painted them. And with the fox, I also designed and bent up all the cutlery and everything into shape, and had my one of the teachers help me weld it together. Fur farming industries often kill foxes for their fur, and that was kind of symbolised in my artwork. I use cutlery in my piece because it represents consumerism. People go and buy their meat and they'll eat it, and they won't think about where it actually comes from, they just eat it.
My artwork consists of a 2-seater couch that is completely wrapped in videotape, which you find in a normal VCR. The piece also comprises of a pair of old running shoes, which are also covered in VCR tape, and then 3 textbooks, which are also covered in VCR tape. The books are placed onto the couch, and then there is a pile of broken white crockery at the foot of the couch, which is placed in a random but still ordered fashion at the bottom of the couch. Then there's also a video which is in the piece, which is actually a video of my brother washing dishes, like a number of them. It goes for like 5 minutes, but it's on repeat, and it's just a slow motion video of him washing these dishes. What inspired me to create my artwork was my intellectually disabled older brother, who's now 21 years old. It makes life for everyone in a family hard, and it's not easy for the actual disabled individual as well. The piece is focusing heavily upon how his aggression and his frustration impacted me and my family, and how Mum kind of subdued him to help me and my other brother to push on with our lives as well and still maintain a good level of care.
My artwork is a painting, but with inks. But I haven't done it on like traditional paper and per se. I've just done it on tapa, which is bark cloth. We went to this place called Chillago, and in one of the places we visited there was a lot of foundations found on the ground. It created a lot of questions in my mind of what these foundations were, what they could have been in the past. I decided to use that as my inspiration and took it to a personal context and asked myself what my personal foundations are. And that got me thinking straight away to my mum. I got a tapa cloth, it's a large one, and then I used a whitewash over it to get the brown off, so it's just all white. But underneath, you would still be able to see the drawings that were previously on it. But I intentionally left it there to show that it was a tapa cloth. From there, I used inks to paint on different images of my siblings and I, and my mum, and texts and patterns to create a story.
My artwork is a book that I created, and it's a book of digital and pinhole photography, and along with that is two framed works that are a collage of photography and line drawing. My subject was architecture. I used old Gold Coast architecture and photographed it in various ways and then combined them using digital and also physically collaging the techniques. My artwork was inspired by just considering the different views of people and how people interpret architecture and what different people see. I basically just tried to show various different views or perceptions of houses using different techniques to give an overall supposedly unbiased view.
My artwork, it has 3 different parts to it. I thought I would use a range of media to make it a bit more interesting and challenge myself. So I used projection, which was imagination, above my main piece, which is a perspex box with 3 faces in it. And the 3 faces are made out of paper, coloured paper, which is called quilling, when the paper is standing up, and it's glued really fine paper until the whole face is complete. There's a boy in the front, girl and girl. Then they're on a table I made, which was from scratch, but they all have different colours. I made the boy have brown hair, one of the girls have blonde hair, then orange hair, so they all have the same quilling effect, but they're all all unique in their own way, all 3 faces. Inspiration came from a range of artists, but also just the quilling, that style of art was really unique and I've never seen it before. And imagination, which is kind of a mixture of pictures just all clustered together. My mum does it as well, so I sort of mixed her in my inspiration because she's the one that taught me how to do art, so she was my inspiration as well.
My art is basically a big canvas about 2 metres by a metre, and that's got little circles of maps that I cut out from atlases, and they're placed in like a spiral, and in front of that I have lots of glass jars with like souvenirs that you'd collect travelling, and it's all like linked up with a string, like symbolising a journey. It took quite a while to come up with the ideas, and there was like a lot of developing. I got a lot of the ideas from Shannon Rankin, who's an artist who also uses a lot of maps, so that sort of got me into the canvas idea. I arranged it in the spiral because of the Fibonacci sequence, which is like a mathematical sequence because I'm also sort of into maths. And then the souvenirs is just, I really want to travel when I leave school, so I just thought maybe it could all tie up.
It's a self-portrait of me, and it just came from the idea of bipolar. It's very expressive. There's lots of like brush strokes, and the background is quite dark. If you notice carefully, it's in a corner, so one side is actually slightly darker than the other in the background. My process in my art making, I did quite a lot of minor works that led up to it. So I started with A4 photos, which I started doing sketches from pictures, and then I worked back into them, repainting them, and then from there I chose my favourite and I decided to do that large scale. So my inspiration came from research from mental health. From that research I kind of decided on what I wanted to do and how to do it, and the process through that kind of just led on.
My artwork is a series of photographs that is stuck on light boxes on a wall, and it's like jumbled up kind of, and it's black and white. The photographs are of this girl who's tangled up in this rope and wires, which represents my mind and how it's always like confused and indecisive, and it's just going around and it's all like messy. This famous photographer called Roger Ballin used wires as well to reflect his inner feelings. So I got inspired by him, and we also studied about him in class, and so I used his technique to portray my feelings as well.
I decided to look at how the human condition impacts upon the spirit, and how we originally start out as a white rose, like a symbol for a clean sort of pure spirit, and then how the human condition impacts upon the spirit and changes it through the alchemy, and it sort of in a way tarnishes your spirit and leaves it changed. The work's a series of vessels, petals of laminate, like it's just a shape for movement or like that carries. From that I glued it onto cartridge paper within frames and let ink seep down between the paper and the plastic, and then also blew it in different patterns, and then worked into it with pencils and different things like that.